Hey everybody, hope you're having a good weekend so far. Let me ask a quick question. Have you started Christmas shopping yet? Because if not, you might want to go ahead and get started. There's at least one port, a big port in China, southern China, that is closed down right now. You may have heard that already, and it's affecting other ports. I was doing some research. I did come across a Yahoo article, and it was talking about how the global shipping disruptions could trigger delays in goods for the holiday season, one expert said. The COVID-19 outbreak at a Chinese port has led to a shipping backlog and is affecting other ports as well. One official said, heaven knows what's going to happen come August or September. So it's leading to a shortage of goods for the holiday season and beyond, possibly. So it's one of the biggest ports in China is basically closed down for close to 3 weeks. This is in the southern part of their country. Delays are piling up in other 3 ports as well. So this is causing a chain reaction in the other ports. So that's just a little bit of an excerpt from there. And this is on top of an already strained supply chain. I think at best it's very strained and very fragile as far as the supply chain. At worst, it's broken in some pieces. Maybe not the whole shebang, but I think our just-in-time delivery system supply chain is very, like I said, very, very fragile. If the trucks ever stop running, the food stops coming quickly. I think we do. I think we'll have a food shortage. I think it's coming. Not seeing a lot of it right now. I know when I go out, I hear different things out there, but when I go out to various stores, I'm seeing some holes, but I'm not seeing any glaring huge things. I mean, there may be less variety in a lot of products, but I think over the next few months, 6 months, we could see a lot more of that, especially certain items. Now, in my research, I've noticed some other things. The biggest glaring thing is that the labor, when you talk about food shortages, is that it goes hand in hand with a labor shortage, that these companies on all levels are having a hard time getting enough labor, getting enough workers to get the jobs done. In the UK, it says the UK will face serious food shortages soon due to a lack of truck drivers and labor. If you're out there in the UK, if anybody's watching, let us know what you're seeing out there. This is just what their media and the media here is talking about. I had a message from a subscriber here that lives in Idaho, and they said that they had a smaller snowpack this year than normal, and so they rely on that water to produce a lot of their crops, and that included, and they listed several of them. That's potatoes, dairy, onions, wheat, hay, beans. All of that's impacted, not producing as much as they usually do, and it's going to impact the price even more on top of what we're seeing right now with inflation. So less of it, higher prices, and not as good a quality. The droughts. The mega droughts out there in the Midwest and the West, that can also be a big factor that'll impact what we're going to see in the stores soon here. It's going to impact the production of food out there from the Midwest on up. Out west, they produce so much of our produce, nuts, just all kinds of stuff, as well as dairy. So, and the rest of the U.S., I've read some other articles, and it says a lot of restaurants are having difficulty getting food from their suppliers, or getting enough to what they're used to getting to be able to service their customers that are coming in the restaurants. So as a result, they're having to reduce their hours or operating hours. They're having to reduce and change their menus because they don't have near enough, as much options as they usually do. There was a story about a New York-based food supplier who is having such a hard time getting enough drivers to deliver their stuff out there that they are actually, they started a program where they're recruiting drivers from out of state, as far away as Alabama. And they're recruiting these drivers, bringing them in, put them in hotels, paying them allowances, meal allowances, perks, whatever they can do to get these, calling them mercenary drivers. It's that bad. I also saw an article, y'all might have seen this. In Texas, there's a Texas-based restaurant chain called Lane's Chicken Fingers. They're hiring, they have a program where they are hiring teens as young as 16, but they said mostly between 16 to 18, 19 years old. They're hiring them in there, teaching them how the business is run, and what they're doing is preparing them for ownership eventually. But in the meantime, they're from the bottom up. They're teaching them the business, and they're actually promoting them on a fast track into management, making 50 grand or more. Teenagers, okay, seems to be working for them. So and then see some other things. Many other restaurants in the United States are raising their prices on everything, but especially chicken. They're citing an increased cost in getting chicken from their suppliers as well. We've heard about the chicken shortage as well, as much as 40% higher on their costs. So I think, again, going hand in hand, they're intertwined. A lack of labor, workers, is also intertwined with a lack of food or availability in food. Now, as far as what we're seeing out there, as far as from what I'm seeing, I went to a couple of Walmarts here in the last week, and from what I noticed, the biggest thing that I saw that had holes was the over-the-counter medication. Your Tylenol, ibuprofen, your aspirins, antacids, that kind of stuff. They were really pretty low. Also, vitamins and supplements. I buy a certain type of men's multivitamin. I was out. I went ahead and I was able to get one, but when I grabbed it, there were only 2 behind it on the shelf. Usually a lot more. So I'm noticing that on a consistent basis, not just the other day when I went. But so over the counter, vitamins, supplements, cooking oil. I've noticed that's pretty low. Not as much variety in your fresh chicken. Frozen meat is hit and miss. Sometimes they're pretty low on it. Sometimes they're stocked up. Different stores that I go to, Band-Aids and bandages and things like that are a little low from what I'm seeing as well. As far as other stuff, just less variety in things like soda and other snack foods, cereals. So let me know what you're seeing out there, and have an idea of where you're located as well. Also, the Kroger that I live closest to here, pretty close, one of my neighbors works there part-time. He's retired, but he works there part-time. And he says this really, and I asked him what he's seeing there. And he says they're getting stocked fairly well. It's hit and miss. Sometimes they're as far as when they order, they may get 75% of it. Sometimes they get 50, sometimes it's 80%. It's just really unpredictable is what he said. But as far as the labor, they're really having a rough time keeping part-time workers of any age. And then, so he said that's very frustrating. Another subscriber to this channel also was telling me that they do the hiring for a Walmart in Texas, and they're having a really tough time keeping staff for their overnight stock crew. They said that they'll hire 4 to 5 and maybe 1 returns. That's about the average. So, not an easy job, but they start out paying pretty well. So a lot of reasons for that, I believe, but I'd like to hear what you think about that. Another thing I've been thinking about, a wild card here, is if we start having lockdowns again. Hopefully we don't here. You're hearing about it all over other places in other countries, the UK, in Europe, Canada, some Asian countries. Boy, that would be rough. Remember the panic buying we had last year when all that stuff started happening, all the restrictions. So what do we do about it? Stock up. Like I said, stock up on your food, water, over-the-counter medications, your prescription medications, all your supplements, things that you take. Stock up as much as you can. Your food, your water, fill your, top off your preps, your pantry, and water filtration. If you don't have that, at least get you a mini Sawyer, a water filter or filter water. Canning, if you do canning, if you garden, do as much of that as you can. Pray. Let's pray every day. Pray for our leaders, all of our leaders. Pray for our country as well. I'd like to know what you think about all this. Share your thoughts, what you're doing to prepare, what you're seeing out there in the stores as well, what you're hearing from others. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the good feedback, and thanks for watching. Take care. God bless you. See you soon.